We started with electricity chapter. Okay, basically electricity is nothing but the rate of flow of electrons through a particular cross section at a particular amount of time. Okay, obviously in some time, what will you have? You will have the flow of the electrons. Now if you are talking about electrons over here, let me tell you that the electrons are something which conduct charge. Which conduct charge. Electrons are negative charge bearing substances present inside the part of a nucleus. Not exactly inside, but in the shells. You know the atoms. Okay, you know the atomic structure of atoms. The central portion will be the nucleus. Okay, nucleus is of a neutral charge. If anybody asks you, nucleus is of a neutral charge because it also has the capacity to neutralize the charge. That's the reason. It is neither positive, okay, neither positive nor negative, nor negative. Okay, this is the first thing. And around the nucleus, this is just one shell I have drawn, my dear kids. You can draw many other shells here and you can have so many electrons, isn't it? Now these electrons are free. They do not have any bond. Okay, there are some electrons that are bonded, but what about the electrons which are far away from nucleus? They are free to move here and there. Okay, they are free to move here and there. Now, what is charge? It's basically a fundamental property of matter. You know that matter can be anything, right? So it's a fundamental property of matter which helps you in conducting the electromagnetic activities as well as it conducts electromagnetic forces as well. So these are the things that we are aware about over here. Okay, next. You can also see that the like charges will repel each other and the unlike charges will attract. So the same charge can be called as like charges. I'm just going to do the review of whatever we did. Okay, like charges attract and unlike charges repel. Okay, unlike charges repel. Now, if you see about the conductors, okay, what do you understand? Conductors are nothing but the substances through which the flow of electricity and heat takes place very easily. Okay, they are very less resistant. They allow the heat and electricity to pass through them easily. They are very less resistant to heat and electricity. The examples can be metals, okay, like copper, silver, aluminium. Even your human body is one of the conductors. And in metals, silver is the best conductor of electricity. Okay, they are less resistant. What is the meaning of less resistant? They provide less opposition to the electricity or to the charges. Okay, now if somebody tells you that can electrons be seen only in the current, what about water? Even water conducts flow of electrons. We have water charges as well. Okay, next, what are the other things that we have? So we will start working on the other things now. Okay, now, what are your insulators? Okay, so your insulators are nothing but they are the substances through which the flow of charge or heat does not take place easily. Okay, through which flow of charge or heat does not take place easily. Okay, like your non-metals. Okay, like you have chlorine. Okay, non-metals example is chlorine because chlorine is a gas. Okay, then you also have wood, glass, rubber, etc. There can be exceptions in our insulators also, like Teflon. Okay, because Teflon is a cookware. It can be used in the cooking utensils, and most of our cooking utensils are consisting of Teflon. Okay, so these are the most important things that we should understand about exceptions. In metals also you have exceptions. A very soft metal like sodium, okay, sodium can be taken place and many things. Okay, that is also an exception. Okay, all right. If you have any doubts, do let me know. Okay, in between. Now, apart from that, you have charge. What are the three types of charge that you can have? You can have a positive charge, neutral, and a negative charge. The representation of charge is done with the small q, that's the symbol. SI unit is coulomb, which is denoted by a capital C. So basically, whenever we are defining the definition of charge, we use net charge. We use net charge, which is called the total charge, denoted by capital Q. Okay, it is nothing but the charge which is contained by total of 6 to the power, 6 into 10 to the power 18 times of the electrons. Okay, that's the number of electrons. So basically, the net charge is nothing but the total amount of the flow of electrons, etc., taking place through these many electrons. We have Anamika entering. All right, let Anamika enter the class. All right, very good evening, Anamika. If you're connected to the audio, you can just let me know. All right. Okay. All right. So I was just trying to revise the things here for our students who missed the class, and then we will go ahead. So this is how you will do the calculation. This is the formula. Q is equal to Ne, which where N is the number of electrons. E is the charge of an electron. I have already written that. And we have used some exponents, okay, laws of exponents, how to get this. Okay, how to get this? Q is equal to Ne. So to get the number of electrons, how to get 6 into 10 to the power 18? We have done all this stuff. I have done it here and shown it to you. Okay, now let us scroll down. You can see all this. Okay, do not worry, I will be giving it to you. You can take screenshots. Okay, for the time being, take screenshots so that you will remember. Okay, what are the things that you have understood, what are the things you have missed out. Now we also studied about the definition is nothing but the actual definition of current, which is denoted by a capital I, is Q by T. Q is the net charge, T is the time, and I is the current. Okay, so the rate of flow of net charge in unit time is called current, right? And the SI unit of current is ampere. What is SI? Indian Standard Units. How to define ampere? It is defined as 1 coulomb of charge flowing per second. In 1 second, okay, the 1 coulomb of charge which is flowing through a metal, you can say, will be defined as 1 ampere. Okay, the smaller quantities of current are expressed as milliampere and microampere. So milli will be nothing but, it should be denoted as nothing but, it should be actually 10 to the power this thing. Okay, it should be 10 to the power of nothing but your 10 to the power 3, or 10 to the power, sorry, not 10 to the power 3, It should be 10 to the power minus 3 because it's milli. Okay, it should be 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. And whereas microampere, you can write it like this. This will be 10 to the power minus 6 ampere. Okay, it will be 10 to the power minus 6 ampere. Okay, so these are the things that you will have to remember across. All right. Now, what are the other things that you should be remembering? This much we understood. What are the device that you will use to measure current? You will use ammeter. Okay. Now, this is the diagram of electric circuit. So, you should always remember that current can flow only in the closed path. Okay, because if the switch or the key is broken at any particular point, then there will be no conduction of charge or electricity taking place. Okay, so let me also tell you that in an electric circuit, the electric current will flow in opposite direction to the flow of electrons. Initially, in olden days, what exactly happened is nobody knew about the theory of electrons. Nobody knew whether electrons exist or not. So if they do not know whether electrons existed, what they did was they understood only one thing, that the electricity flows only in the positive direction, which is opposite to the direction of flow of electrons. That's why current or electricity will always flow from the positive terminal of a battery, which is a group of cells, to the negative terminal. It will never flow from negative to positive, no. And an ammeter, which is used to measure the rate of current or the amount of current, will be connected in series with the circuit diagram or with our electric circuit. It will be connected in series. Okay, so I'll be writing that, and we shall start with the potential difference. Okay, or the things. So let's start with it. If any doubts are there, do let me know. Right at this point of time, you can let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down. Okay, so one very important point that I'll be writing here is nothing but, you can say that the ammeter, okay, connected, sorry, is always connected. We can no need to write shortcut, let's write the complete thing. The ammeter is always, okay, connected in series with within the circuit diagram or within the circuit, you can just say. I think that should be more than enough for you to understand. Okay, it is always connected in series. We will come to know what is a series arrangement and what are the other things. Okay, so do not worry about those things. Okay, it's just for your reference. It's all for your understanding. Now, let us start with the symbols of few things, and then we will start with what you know, the potential difference thing. Okay, so we will also start with that, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. Anamika entered the waiting room. I think she got disconnected, right? Okay, let her, I have admitted her. Okay, so Mahashri, any doubts here, since we already revised it? Again, any kind of doubts to you?
No, ma'am.
No doubts? Okay, so we shall begin then. Good to go. And others also. If you have any doubts, do let me know. Okay, because right after this chapter, okay, we will be studying a biology chapter. Okay. And after electricity, you know, we will study about, if we come to other chapters of physics, we will study about the magnetic properties of that. Okay. So we will start with a question first. Then we'll do some symbols, how to understand the symbols, and then we'll study the electric potential or the potential difference. So before that, I would want everybody to solve this question. I'm going to paste it. Okay, just give me one quick minute. I'm just going to paste it. 1 second. I have a list of questions. We are doing textbook questions only for the time being, because I want to, I want you all to understand this. 1 second. This is, yes, I'll put it here. Yes, is the question visible to all of you? Yes? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this is the question from the textbook itself. So let it be question number 1 for us. Okay, now the question says a current of 0.5 ampere is drawn by a filament. Filament is nothing but filament is actually the part of the bulb through which the electricity gets produced in the glass bulb, and then it just lights up. It is made up of tungsten. Tungsten is also a metal. Okay, so they are telling that it is drawn by a filament of electric bulb for 10 minutes. That is the time taken by the bulb. Okay, and 0.5 ampere is the current. Okay, find the amount of electric charge that flows through the circuit. How to do this question and which formula we can use here? Yes, till now we have learned two formulas. Q is equal to NE and I is equal to, what did we learn? Q by T. Okay, which one should we use here? All of you tell me fast.
Ma'am, Q
Can we
is
use the
equal
first one? We'll use the second one. Very good. Why? Because there's no need of using the first one. We are not finding the number of electrons. What are we finding out? The amount of current flowing through the bulb for 10 minutes. Let's find it out. Okay. What is the SI unit of time? Is it minutes or is it seconds? What do you think? Yes, it is in
seconds, ma'am.
seconds. Very good. So you have to convert it. Okay, let's try this out. A very easy and a very direct formula. So the solution for this question we will be using is I is equals to Q upon T. That's a Q upon T. Now, what are the things we have been given with? You can write down the given things, or if you want, I will redo this question. First, we'll always write down the given information or the given details. So we have I, the value of current, 0.5 ampere, capital A. Then we have time. You can take capital T or small t up, as per your convenience, 10 minutes. It can be converted into seconds. So 10 into how many seconds? 1 minute has 60 seconds. How many seconds? 600 seconds. 1 minute has 60 seconds. 10 minutes will have 600 seconds. Then how will you calculate it? So it will be I, which is equal to Q upon T. I know the value of I know the value of T. I have to find out Q. So I will rearrange my formula. Okay, in a different way. Q is equal to I into T. I is 0.5 ampere. Okay, multiplied by time is 10 minutes, which is 600 seconds. Calculate it and tell me what answer do you get. 5 6 is 30. Okay, so you can just write 300 first. How many decimals? Only one. Only one. So what will be the answer there? It will be 300 only, because there's a decimal also. So actually it should be 3000. But since there's a decimal, we ignore the decimal. So your answer should be 300 Coulomb. That's all is your answer. Okay. That's all will be your answer. Yes, any doubts here? Anybody having any doubts? Anamika, Gautami, Mahashri, and Sachin. Very simple question.
No, ma'am.
It will be a 1 marker question. Okay, so we should move ahead. You know how to do the calculation. 600 into 0.5. You know that 6 5 is 30. So it will be a 3000. But since you have a decimal in 0.5, you ignore that. Your answer will be 300. Let's go to the next thing. Let's go to the symbols part. Okay, let's go to the symbols. I'll be drawing some symbols which are very, very important to understand here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a table kind of format. Then I will take you through the electric potential. Okay, first I will write about commonly used components. Okay, commonly used components in circuit diagram. In circuit diagrams, you will remember this. Okay, you will not get confused. You will understand what symbol denotes what. We have somewhere about 11 symbols that we are going to take up. The first one is electric cell. Electric cell. I'm talking only about a cell, one cell. So the symbol is going to be nothing but, you can say that it will be a positive charge and a negative. Okay, this is the positive terminal of the cell. This is the negative terminal and it is connected like this. Okay. All right, good. Let's go to the next one. So the second one that we will have will be nothing but battery. You will have a battery. What is battery? It is a combination of cells. It is a combination of cells. Okay, how to do that? Okay, you will have more than one cell attached. Okay, you can just try to make it like this. You can have any number of cells. Okay, this is just for your example. 1 2 3 4. I have drawn 4. So here's your positive charge, here's your negative charge. The shorter one is negative, the longer one is positive. Okay, next. Okay, the next thing that we will draw is the plug key or the switch. Okay, the plug key or the switch. So we call it as a switch, or we call it as a plug key. Okay, so how to draw that? Now let's try to draw that. Okay, yesterday we saw how to do it. This is how it is drawn. This is open. This is open type. Open type. Open type switches will never conduct electricity, my dear kids. Remember that. Remember that. So we will again draw the closed type switch. Sorry, spelling is wrong. Yeah. Switch or plug key. Which type? The closed type. The closed type. Okay. All right. So there's only one difference. Just make a dot inside that. It will become closed. It will become closed. Initially, we used to use a different symbol, like this. We used to use like this. But now that symbol has been replaced with this. Okay, so let's not use this anymore. When we were studying it, at that time, it was like that. Next, we have a wire. Okay, a wire joint. When you connect at least two wires, how will the symbol look like? So we will draw it here. A wire joint. Okay, let us see how to draw it. So suppose this is one wire and I'm just trying to connect another wire here, and I will darken this. I will darken this. That's all. Okay, that's all. Now we will understand how to draw wires which are crossing each other without joining. Here we have shown the joining wires. What have we shown? The joining wires diagram. Now we will show the wires which are not joining each other. Okay, so let us try to do that. Let us try to do that also. Next, sixth one. Okay, how to do that? We will write wire crossing. Wire crossing is nothing but the name given to the wires. Okay, so wire crossing without joining. So how to draw that? Okay, how to draw that? So this is one of them. Okay, like this. You do not have any kind of closed thing. These are the wires which are not connected to each other. You will feel that, you know, it is connected in some way, but because of this thing, that itself means it is not touching this wire properly. It is just overlapping it, but not touching it. Okay. All right. So be very, very careful. Okay. Do not interchange the things. That is of lot of importance. Now, how will you draw electric bulb? You have already seen it will be with a filament. Okay, the tungsten filament. Electric bulb symbol, very easy. Okay, very easy. You can draw it like this. I'm just going to draw it with a black color here. So you can draw it like this for an easy purpose. Or else, if you want to draw, you know, the whole bulb kind of thing, okay, like this, you can also draw like this. Anything that you like. Anything that you like. Okay, next. We have a resistor. We will study about resistors later. But what is the meaning of resistor? Something which does not allow current to pass through it. Okay, that's the idea behind a resistor. How to draw a resistor? It is denoted by the symbol R. It is just like this. It is just like that. By the way, it should not be curved. It should be having, you know, pinpointed triangles like this. Okay, enough. Next, what else we have? We also have to understand how to draw a rheostat. Now, rheostat also we will study after some time. Okay. Now we are going to study how to draw a variable resistance. Okay, to show over here how to draw it. So we are going to draw it in this way. Draw it like this. Okay, draw it like this and make an arrow crossing through it. Make an arrow crossing through it. Okay, or there's another way of also drawing it, which is like this. Whatever suits you, please draw that. Okay, no problem with that. No problem with that. Okay, this is called as rheostat. This is called as rheostat or variable resistance. Rheostat. Next. Now, two more things are left out: ammeter and voltmeter. Okay, remember these things very carefully. Okay, very important also. So now we will draw ammeter. How to draw ammeter here? Okay, so you can draw it like this. Okay, write A here to show that it is ammeter, and let this side be the positive, let this side be the negative. You don't have to put the brackets, that is, I just put it to show, that's all, otherwise not important. Next, I said we have our voltmeter. Okay, we'll just write V in place of that, that's all. So we'll get a voltmeter. Voltmeter is required to measure what? The potential difference, which we are going to learn now. First, we'll finish drawing it. This is V. This is a plus. This is a minus. Okay. All right. Now, my dear kids, let us learn about potential difference. Okay. All right. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay. I hope everybody has noted it down. If you have any kind of questions, do let me know. So now I'm going to tell you about the electric potential or the potential difference. Okay. Now I'll make you understand why this is important for the flow of current. What if this is not there? Will the current flow? Obviously, it will flow, but you won't be able to measure it. Because this is very important. How will you understand whether current is flowing? Just by seeing the reading of ammeter. Okay, yes, you can. But how will you understand what is the voltage? Okay, so to understand about the voltage, we need this. Okay, so let me tell you something about it over here. Okay, now what is the meaning of potential difference first of all, and why do we need it? So basically, you know that the electrons move, okay, they move freely, right? So when the electrons move freely, they move freely, they actually require something. So require, they require what? They require a difference. Okay, they require a difference of electric pressure. They require a difference of nothing but electric pressure. That electric pressure, that's a C, okay, that's a C. Electric pressure, I'll write it properly, otherwise you will think that it is an O, and then it will be not correct. Okay, yeah. So they require a difference of electric pressure for movement, right? So they move freely, they require a difference of electric pressure, right, for movement. Okay, and let me also tell you that this is called potential difference across the conductor for movement through conductor. Through conductor. What is this thing called as? This is called as your potential difference. Okay, so now I'm going to write it over here. Okay, so basically this is what is the difference. I'm going to highlight it. Difference of electric pressure for movement through conductor. Okay, is your potential difference. So you can write it. You can write it now. Yes, it's called potential difference. Now, why is it important? You would have heard one thing. I'll give you an example. Why is it important? Okay, why is it important? Suppose you have seen that water flows. Okay, water flows from high level to low level. It can never flow from low level to high level. Have you seen water climbing up anywhere? It may be possible if some artificial methods are done, but I'm talking about the natural movement. It will flow from high pressure to low pressure only. It will flow from high pressure to low pressure only. Okay, so if water also requires the difference of high to low, will the current not require? Yes, it will also require. Okay, it will also require. Okay, so that is very, very important. That is very, very important. So please remember these things. Everything that flows will be from a high pressure to low pressure, except your winds. You know how wind flows from low pressure area to high pressure when they are creating cyclones. Okay, but let's not study about cyclones in science, right? So I'm not talking about that in detail. Now, this potential difference is produced by batteries. So, okay, so this is produced, okay, by batteries. Sorry, I'll write it a little properly. By batteries, or you can say batteries are nothing but group of cells only, so you can just say batteries or cells, okay. All right, now what else? Okay, now what else? What is this actually about? So this is nothing but a chemical action within a cell which generates a potential difference. Okay, so the chemical action, it's a Ca, okay, chemical action, okay, within cells, okay, creates or generates. So it actually happens inside the batteries or the cells, inside their their own substances with the help of chemical reactions. Okay, the chemical action within cells creates or generates potential difference. Okay, remember these things. Potential difference, very, very important. Okay, very, very important. Okay, and it is possible in conductors only, you know that, right? Across their terminals. What are terminals? Positive and negative terminals, right? This much, very, very important. This is an R. This is an R. That's all. Okay. All right. Now, let me tell you one thing, what happens when the current doesn't flow? What happens when the current doesn't flow? Will there still be a potential difference across the batteries? A yes or a no? How many of you say it will happen even if there's no current flowing? It will happen. Why? Because it's a chemical action. Okay? Potential difference occurs even when you don't have current flowing. Only your ammeter depends on flow of current. It can show the reading. But potential difference will still take place, which is independent. Whether current is flowing or not. That's why I told you. When the electrons move with the help of electric pressures difference, potential difference will be created between them, which is a chemical action for them. It doesn't require any physical action. Okay. All right. So what do you say? You will write here that the you can just say that the uh, potential difference takes place even when there is no current flowing. Okay, very important. These are a few things that you should remember. Okay, I will highlight them. Now we'll see what is the next. Okay, we have Ohm's law coming up. Okay. All right, so yes, let's try that out. What is Ohm's law? Before that, I will give you a formula here. Okay, I'll give you a formula here. So you already have defined it. Okay, so how do you actually define it with the help of formula? So let me tell you, this is the formula. V is equal to W upon Q. This is the formula. Okay, which is connecting the potential difference V and Q. So basically, if I scroll up a little bit, right? Sorry, if I scroll up a little bit up, I can tell you that it is denoted by the symbol capital V, which is equal to W by Q. Now we need to define this formula. Okay, so this is nothing but is defined as what? As the electric potential difference. Okay, electric potential difference between 2 points, shortcut of between 2 points, okay, in an electric circuit, carrying what? Carrying some charge or some current. Current is nothing but charge. So you can either write charge or current or electricity. Anything is fine. Okay. Some current as the work done. Okay. To move a unit of charge, as the work done to move a unit of charge. So what are you doing? You are moving a charge from one place to other only, no? Okay, that is nothing but a work done to move a unit of charge from one point to the other point, from one point to the other. That is your definition. Okay, from one point to the other. You know why you are writing when the current flows? Because you're trying to show them, yes, this is the practical example. Because when there is no current, nobody will be able to see that practically. That's why please include this from one point to another. Okay, that's why please include that. Now, what is the SI unit? Sorry, SI unit is how, what will you write down for potential difference? Symbol is V. SI unit is what? Volt. It's not voltage, it is just volt. Okay, capital V only. Okay, do you know something? Who has discovered this name? That scientist's name is Alessandro Volta. He was an Italian physicist. He was a physics scientist. What is the name? He's an Italian It is there in your book also. Okay, his name is Alessandro Volta. His name itself is Volta. So with that he has given, because he has discovered it. So he gave his name. Okay. All right. So this is about it. And how will you define 1 volt then practically? Okay. So remember, these definitions are very, very important. You know, somebody asks you, please define 1 volt, etc. Okay. Work done is calculated in joules. Okay. We will see how to do it. Let us scroll down. Oh, sorry. I didn't change it. Yes. So basically, how will you define it, right? So 1 volt is actually equal to the work done to move the charge from one point to another. Okay. All right. A unit of charge from one point to another, right? That is what is the definition. But I'm writing it in mathematical form with their units. 1 joule is the unit of SI unit of work. You know that. Okay, work is expressed in joules. Okay, and charge is expressed in coulomb. So we will write this. Now, how will you define it? Just by looking at this, you can easily define. So that's why I'm giving all the things to you so that you can understand it. Okay, so now how will you define it? You can say that 1 volt is the, okay, 1 volt is nothing but is the potential difference. Okay, is the potential difference, okay, between 2 points, okay, in a current, okay, carrying conductor, in a current carrying conductor. Okay, only conductors will help you to understand these things. When 1 joule, some people tell it as joule, that's also fine. I'm just telling you how you can express and explain the things. 1 joule of work done to move a charge, okay, to move a charge of 1 coulomb, okay, from one point to the other, from one point, okay, to the other, okay. Okay, understand all these things, very important. I'm just highlighting the most important points that you have to remember. Okay, current carrying conductor, okay, from one point to the other point. Okay, it's very, very important. Okay, now what we will see is we will also express this formula as nothing but, my dear kids, we'll scroll down. We can express it as you have 1 joule per 1 coulomb, right? You can also take it like this, no? Multiplied by, the coulomb will come up and it will change into a negative power. This can be expressed in this way also, okay? You can just write it like this. This is also possible very easily. Okay, let's do a question. And before that, what instrument we use, that is very important. Okay, so we use a voltmeter to measure potential difference. We use voltmeter to measure potential difference across the series of cells or what? Battery. Now, how is the voltmeter connected? And it is connected in parallel. The ammeter is connected in series to measure current. This is connected in parallel, very important. Okay, it is always connected in parallel. Where? Across the points through which you will measure the potential difference. So you will say across the points between which, okay, the potential difference is measured. Okay, difference is measured. Very important. Very, very important. Okay, all right. So remember how they are connected. If you know these things, you can easily draw the circuit diagram, and all of you can easily do it. Okay, all of you can easily do it. Very good. Now let's do one question. Very simple one only. We know how to draw a circuit diagram. Then we'll see what is Ohm's law. We'll do a question. We'll see Ohm's law. Okay. And then when we meet in the next class, we will also study about resistivity. Okay. In the next week, the factors on which, your resistance will depend for a conductor, then some formulas, and then some example questions. Then after we discuss everything, what we will do? We will do the questions from the exercise and some theory questions. Okay, and then we will see the parallel and series arrangement. So this chapter looks very big because there are so many activities. So we will also see the activities on YouTube. Okay, we will see it on YouTube. Okay, let me help you out with a question first. I'm going to give you a question. 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to copy paste it. Okay. Simple questions right now we are doing. Very direct questions. Okay. Because once we start with the difficult ones, we will then take them out. So this is the question that we have. And I'm just going to erase this thing. I'll put it here. Okay. And I will increase the size. Yes. Now I want you all to try this. Tell me what answer you get. Try this out. I'll tell you which formula you can use. This is the second question. What are they asking us? How much work is done in moving a charge of 2 coulomb? So what is the given data? The given data, charge of 1 coulomb. So they have given us Q, which is the charge. Sorry, not 1 coulomb, it is 2 coulomb. Sorry, it is 2 coulomb. Okay, this is a solution. Next, across 2 points, very good. They have already told that the potential difference is 12 volt. So V is 12 volt. Okay. What are you supposed to find out? Work done. How much work? How much work? Okay. You have to find out work done. Which formula we can use? We can use, sorry.
W by Q.
Very, very good. Q by, sorry, W by Q. Okay. I made a small mistake. W by Q. Okay. W by Q. Very good. Okay. Just use this. You will get your answer. Oh, you need to find out W. So try to rearrange it. Okay. Try to rearrange it and you will get your answer. Work done is VQ. Work done is VQ. Okay. So what is V? It is 12. What is Q? Sorry. What is Q? It is 2. So it's very easy. 24. Very good. People have told it in the chat also. Lovely. Okay. Great, great, great. Great job. Yes. It should be 24. Okay. But what should be the unit? Joules. Okay. You have to write this down. Okay. You have to write this down. Very simple question. Okay. Nothing too difficult. Right now, we are not doing anything too difficult. Very simple question. Okay. Now, I will also teach you about Ohm's law before we go to the next class. Ohm's law is very important. Okay, just 1 second. I hope everybody has noted it down. I'll keep it here so that you can note it down if you have not noted it down yet. So let us understand about Ohm's law. Okay. Now, Ohm's law is very, very important. Okay, there was a scientist whose name was Ohm. Okay, it's not OM Ohm, it's OHM, Ohm's law. Why is Ohm's law important? Because this Ohm's law will give you the relationship, okay, between what? The potential, in the potential, okay, difference, between the potential difference, okay, and current, between potential difference and current flowing through a conductor, through a conductor. Okay, very, very important. Okay, very, very important. So we have some activities. We will see the activities later. Okay, but let me also tell you one thing. when you do the activity, what are the things that you will get to understand? That is important. Okay, that is important. Okay, so what I am going to tell you here is about this thing. And if you want to draw a circuit diagram, no, before you do this, before you do the Ohm's law, let me tell you one thing. Okay, when we drew a circuit diagram yesterday, we didn't show the voltmeter, no, because we studied the voltmeter today. So how will you show the voltmeter here? The voltmeter should be shown parallel to the resistor. So we don't have a resistor now, we have to draw a resistor first. Okay, then we will show it. Then we will show it again. Okay, all right. Just give me 1 second. Okay, just give me 1 second. So let me tell you one thing, that when you draw a graph, my dear kids, when you draw a graph between the voltage, okay, between the voltage and the current, y-axis will be for your voltage or volt. Okay, x-axis, let it be for current, I. Okay, let it be for I, current, which is in ampere. Okay, so when you draw the graph, no, it will be a straight line. Okay, we will look at the activity and then understand. It will be a straight line. Okay, so this is the graph which shows the Ohm's law for you. And what can you understand from this? The voltage is directly proportional to current. V is voltage, I mean volt or potential, not exactly voltage, you can say potential difference, because they are using potential difference here, right? So we can say that potential difference is directly proportional to current because it is a straight line. It's a straight line graph or a uniform graph. It's a uniform conductor. It happens only for a uniform conductor. You have to remember these things. Okay, and now we will introduce one proportionality, which is R. R is your resistance. R is your resistance. Okay, that is Ohm's law. Ohm's law is helpful in deriving the relationship between potential difference and current through a conductor. This is Ohm's law. Nothing but this is Ohm's law. Okay, we will study more about it by drawing the circuit diagram, because now few more important things are left, because we have more and more questions. We will discuss it. You will see that there are many pages. Okay, but don't worry about the number of pages. You will get it. Okay, Ohm's law is done. Resistance we have to define, which we will do it in the next class. And then we will study about the different types of factors on which resistance can depend. The length of the electrical wire or the conductor, if you're using copper wires. Copper is a metal. Length, cross sections, area, nature of material. So we'll study all that. Then we need to study arrangement in series and parallel. Then something about the applications of it. That's all is the theory part. Okay, so we have some numericals based on this, and then we'll discuss it. Okay, all right. Any doubts, anybody, before we end the class? Yes? Any kind of doubts? Mahashri? Okay, Gautami says no. Mahashri says no. Okay, very good. Sachin, any doubts, Sachin? Any kind of doubts? No? Good going. If you have any doubts, to let me know. Okay, all the best. See you in the next